welcome to my channel. I'm Mariko Satsuki and I'm a Japanese mahjong pro. In the previous video, I said I belong to Japan Pro Mahjong Association, but I think I made a mistake because I translated each Japanese word to each English word, but the proper translation for the organization I belong was actually NPM, which is called Nihon Pro Mahjong. I heard that Emily, which is on air by Abema TV, is popular even overseas. And so today, I want you to know about the Mahjong Professional Society. If you don't know Emily, I put a link in my information space, so just click and tap the Mahjong channel and you will be able to watch Mahjong anytime. First, I want you to know the population of Mahjong player in Japan. 128 million people live in Japan right now. According to the White Paper on Leisure 2019, it is said that there are 5,800,000 people who plays Mahjong. And in the 1960s, it is said that the population of Mahjong player were more than 20 million. The player of Mahjong has decreased, but in this few years, it is said that the player is a little bit increasing again. And there are about 2,000 Mahjong Pro. Mahjong Pro Society is not unified. In Japan, there are several groups of Mahjong professional organizations. And today, I'm going to introduce 5 major groups of Mahjong Pro. I told you that there are about 2,000 Mahjong Pro, and every Pro belongs to one of these organizations. Look at this pie chart. This is a pie chart of Mahjong Pro population by each organization. I'm going to introduce each of the organizations. First is JPML, Japan Pro Mahjong League, and it is called Renme in short in Japanese. Renme was established in 1981. They have a large membership, and also they are the most influential group. The membership of Renme is close to 650. The head office is in Tokyo, and there are 7 branches all around Japan. Regular league match rule is a little bit different to the other groups, and so making high yaku hand will be very important. And next is Saikoisen, Japan Pro Mahjong Association, and it is called Saikoisen in short in Japanese. It was established in 1976. This is the most oldest society. The member of Saikoisen is almost 500 people. First, there was a league called Saikoi, and this society was made to participate to this league. At first, it was sponsored by Kindai Mahjong, but in 1985, Kindai Mahjong withdrew, and it became to hold this league by themselves, and so Saikoisen is the nucleus of the organizations for Mahjong Pro. And all of the other groups are branched from Saikoisen. For Saikoisen rule, it is important to make a high point hand, but to get a plus point, to be in second place, is also important. The next one is Nihon Pro Mahjong, which is called NPM. The group which I belong is called Kyokai in short. It was established in 2001, and there are about 450 members right now. The Kyokai rule is the most measured rule in Japan, I think, because it is similar to the rules played in most of the Japanese Mahjong parlor. The ratio of male and female in Kyokai is 6:4, and for the other organizations there are more men than women too. And for the Kyokai rule, to be the first place player is very important. The other 2 organizations are smaller than Kyokai, Renme, Saikoisen, and I'm going to introduce these simply. RMU is Rio Mahjong Unit, established in 2007, and there's less than 200 members. And the idea of RMU is to make a real Mahjong professional, to make a real mahjong professional. And the last one is Mahjong Rengo MU. This is called MU in short, and established in 1997. There are over 100 members. The idea of this group is to familiarize not gambling mahjong. So these were the 5 main mahjong professional organizations in Japan. So I said that the rules are different for each organizations. Each of the organization has each professional circuit. Players compete in the league ranked A to C or D, and the player accumulate point for 1 year. And it is a little bit complicated, so I want to make another video to understand this system. So anyway, each organization has each league match, and each group has its own characteristic rules. And this is a chart of each mahjong organization's rule. All of the pro society doesn't use akadora. M-League and most of the mahjong parlor uses akadora. Renmei doesn't have the yaku of ippatsu and uradora. OKA and UMA is to score 1 hanchan. When you score the point, you sum up the roll score point and the rank point and the top prize. First, I have to explain about the roll score. For the roll score point, you have to minus 30,000 points from the point you have total at the end. This is because the game starts from 30,000 points. And also, so you have to return 30,000 points. For example, if the person ended by 42,000 points, which is 42.0, the roll score point will be 12,000 point plus point, which is plus 12.0. And if the person ends by 26,000 points, it is 4,000 points short for 30,000 points. So the player point would be minus 40,000 points, 4.0. And when you write the minus score, you write a triangle. This is because just minus is sometimes hard to see, and it sometimes makes us mistake. Renmei and Saikoi-sen starts the game from 30,000 points and return 30,000 points at the last. But for Kyokai, M-League, and also most of the mahjong parlor, the game starts from every player having 25,000 points. But you have to return 30,000 points at the last. Why does this happen? And this is because of the OKA system. OKA is a top prize. When the game starts at 25,000 points, it means that every player are paying 5,000 points on the table before starting the game. So 4 people by 5,000 points would be 20,000 points, and this 20,000 point collected at the first goes to the first place player's point when the game ends. And this is why I said OKA is the top prize. As I told, to be the first place player is very important for Kyokai and M-League is because of this OKA system. UMA is the rank point. For Saikoi-sen, Kyokai, and M-League, 1 point equals to 1,000 points. The first place player gets plus 30 points. Second, plus 10 points. Third, minus 10 points. And 4, minus 30 points. And this is quite simple. But for Renmei rule, it is difficult because the rank point depends on whether how many player has more than 30,000 points at the last. If only one player had more than 30,000 points, the first goes plus 12, and the second minus 1, third minus 3, and the fourth minus 8. And if 2 players had more than 30,000 points, it goes plus 8, plus 4, minus 4, minus 8. And if 3 of the players had more over than 30,000 points, plus 8, plus 3, plus 1, and minus 12. The rank point is smaller than the other league, and also there aren't ippatsu and uradora. So for Renmei rule, making a high score hand would be important. I'm going to show an example when you end the game at the first place in each organization rule. If you've won the game by 40,000 points, the roll score point would be all the same, plus 10.0, and the rank score point would be like this. Except Renmei, they get plus 30.0 point. I made two types for Renmei because it depends on whether how many player has more than 30,000 points. Hyokai and M League has OKA. So you get 20 point plus bonus. As you see on the graph, ending the game having the same roll score point and the first place player, the total score you get has a big difference. Because of the rules difference, even if the same player is playing the mahjong, they sometimes changes their choice, like reaching or not, push or fold. And so when you watch mahjong videos, it would be more exciting to check out the difference of the rule. Thank you for watching my video, and I appreciate it if you give me likes and subscribe my channel. Also, I'm glad to give me comments if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.